Easy Explained Darwinism, Evolutionary Patterns. So evolutionary patterns are essentially how we view and think about evolution as a bioecological process happening over periods of time or in relation to each other as we consider how different species might be evolving in the bigger scheme of things. So the first one we're going to look at, a very prominent one for Darwin. This is how you consider most evolution occurs. This third pattern he calls gradualism. Essentially, just very small changes accruing very slowly over very long periods of time. And this is why evolution can be hard for us to observe in a single human lifetime. So here Darwin says that natural selection will always act very slowly, often only at long intervals of time, and generally on only a very few of the inhabitants of the same region at the same time. So, right, it's not even like you have to think about who's reproducing, who's alive, who's really continuing these. You have to think about the generational time of a species. A lot of factors playing into gradualism here, and this is why it's hard to see. It's just such a big scope. Then he also brings up extinction, which I'm really not calling an evolutionary pattern. It's almost anti-evolutionary or like an anti-pattern, right? So if you're not evolving, you're essentially on the pathway to extinction, right? If you're not adapting and continuing to survive in your environment, eventually you will go extinct. So just to sum this up and what this looks like for Darwin, I did paraphrase a very long selection from his work on the origin of species. But for Darwin, essentially, extinction is a process of extermination. It's usually happening when there's a newer, superior species outperforming an older, inferior species in regards to their competition for natural resources like space to live, food to eat, clean water to access, and also just natural selection, right? Any kind of adaptation that makes you a better or worse fit to your environment. You're just going to be outcompeted. You won't be able to survive. You won't be able to reproduce. If that continues for long enough, your species is going to die out. You will go extinct. That's generally the summary of extinction for Darwin. And finally, he considers another pattern, which is called a divergent evolution. So this is the idea that over time, especially when we look at speciation and that isolation being brought into this, species will diverge, right? They'll start to fill different niches in their environments, in their ecosystems. And in doing so, they'll become more and more different from each other. So here Darwin says that the modified descendants of any one species will succeed by so much the better as they become more diversified in structure, right? Becoming more different, finding their niches, reducing their competition, essentially, that they face, right? We just want to carve out our own place where we don't have to compete as strictly, as hard, and are thus enabled to encroach on places occupied by other beings, right? Or maybe, hey, you can go move somewhere else and actually change your competition, change it up a little bit. Maybe you'll actually be more favorable in a new environment in light of a new type of competition. So these are three evolutionary patterns mentioned by Darwin. We have gradualism, extinction, and divergent evolution. There are others, but as far as on the origin of species is concerned, and Darwinism proper, these are the three that he really considers and discusses. So for now, hope this helps.